Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today, to continue the spooky season festivities, I'm going to be doing a look inspired by Chernabog from Fantasia. I have been doing a Disney Villains series over on my Instagram and my Facebook since, I want to say May time, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of bring it over to my YouTube channel, especially now that we are in spooky season. It's kind of the perfect time for it. Now, every single time that I tell someone, oh, I'm going to do a look inspired by Chernabog, they seem to screw their eyebrows up and not know who I'm talking about. So I put a photo around about this screen somewhere. Now obviously I am not going to make myself look like that identically. This is more a look inspired by maybe what they would look like in real life, although it's difficult to kind of imagine what a demon would look like in real life, but we're going to try today. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing to start this look is covering the ends of my eyebrows. So I do this a bit more in detail and I do a full brow cover on my last video, so I'll link that here. But basically you just use a non-toxic glue stick just to coat your brow hairs, push them flat to the surface of your skin, and then wipe away the excess glue and powder them down. Just this means that you can put makeup over the top and you're not going to get any texture over where your eyebrows are. I didn't want to do a full brow cover because I was going to use the kind of natural shape of the front of my brows anyway, so I just covered the end of them, and I did this a couple of times just to make sure it was as smooth as I could get it. So now I'm just priming my skin just before I apply some makeup, and then I'm colour correcting the end of my brows just with a kind of orangey peach tone, just applying it and then powdering it just ever so slightly. And then I'm going in with a full coverage. This is a TV paint stick. These are my favourite to use if I'm doing like a full coverage look. And I'm applying a lighter shade just in the centre of my face, just to add some brightness. And then I'm going in on a flat top foundation brush and just buffing that all over the skin. I'm using a brush because it just means that you don't lose any pigmentation. Like none of the product gets soaked up, or less of the product gets soaked up, and it just means you get a nice full coverage base. So then I'm just going in with some concealer and blending that out just to hide my dark circles, because I had a lot of them this day. And then I'm just going in and powdering my entire face, just using a translucent powder. I use quite a lot of powder because it's quite a heavy foundation and I find that it slips around on my face. So just use a lot of powder and then dust off the excess. And I used a spritzer setting spray just to melt it down. So now I'm going in with a contour. I'm using a kind of brown grey tone. I'm going quite heavy with the contour because I really want to chisel out my face. So I'm applying this on my cheekbones, underneath my jawline and my temples, and slightly down the sides of my nose, just to really contour my face and try and make it a bit more angular. So then for the eyebrows, I'm going in with a kind of navy blue, and I am making them very angled. So I'm using the natural shape of the front of my brow, but I'm bringing it down further at the front, so it's more of a diagonal line going from kind of the start of my nose to my temples. So just bringing that out until it's as far out as I wanted it to go. And then I'm just kind of joining that up at the top, filling them in with that eyeshadow and just fading out the start of it. So then, just to add a wee bit more definition, I'm just going in with a black eyeshadow just at the tail end of my brow, just to make them a bit darker and a bit more defined, and making sure that I'm really getting the shape that I want. And then just to clean up, I'm using that light foundation shade that I use at the centre of my face, and just using this to clean up underneath my brows, just to sharpen up the under side of it. I didn't use this on the top because it was already pretty sharp up there, so... And then I'm just blending that foundation out over the lid just to make sure there's no harsh edges and to act as a wee eye primer. So now I'm going in with a mid-toned blue, and I'm applying this into my crease and the inner corner, and then on my outer corner as well, just in a kind of wing shape, and I'm following the direction of my brows, so everything's very lifted and kind of angry looking. I mean, these eyebrows make me look like I'm like permanently scowling, so the eye makeup kind of had to match. So I'm just applying loads of this in a winged out shade and blending it out really nicely, and then I'm applying it on my lower lashes and kind of following that line that I've created on the upper lid as well. So then I'm going in with a black shade and just deepening up that crease, really focusing it on the inner corner, because this is where you get the most expression. Like if you want a really angry eye, this is where you get the most expression. And then putting that in my outer corner as well and smoking it out. I made this really smoky and blown out and really nice and blended. So just take your time and go back in with the blue when you need it, just to blend out all the colours so they're nice and seamless. And then I just applied that black shade over my eyelid as well, just patted it on and blended out any harsh edges. And then CHERNABOG has like a kind of red or yellow glow to him sometimes, so I wanted to incorporate that, so I just applied a kind of pinky red tone just on the edges of the blue at the top of the eye look, and then blended it underneath my eyes as well. And then on the inner corner, just to kind of replicate that yellow glow that he's got in his eyes, I used a like neon yellow pigment. So I applied a wee bit of glitter primer first, just to get a wee bit more stick. Neon's can be a bit temperamental, so I just applied a primer and then put that pigment over. So now for the mouth, I kind of forgot to film this bit, but you basically just draw like random shapes. I kind of stuck so they were more like diamond shaped, just all over your mouth, and then I'm filling in those spaces using a blue cream shade similar to the one that we first used on our eyes. So just being really careful just to fill this in and make it as neat as possible. And then for any wee smaller areas, I just went in with a really small brush. You want to try and apply this as neatly as you can so that you don't have loads of cleanup afterwards. So then I just went in and set that blue cream shade with the blue eyeshadow that we used initially. Just again being really careful to keep it inside the lines, just so that it didn't smudge about everywhere. And then I'm going in with a black and smudging this on one side of the blue shapes. So you want to do this to make it look a bit more 3D. So on either side of my face, I applied the black closest to the edge of the shape that was closest to my ear. Does that make sense? I think so. It just helps make it a bit more 3D, but you really want to keep it tight to that side. And then I'm just going in with a white eyeshadow and applying a highlight on the opposite side, again just to add a bit more dimension. I didn't blend this out too much, so I just kind of added to the highlight of it. So then I just went in and cancelled out the tone of my lips using that same foundation from before on a kind of small liner brush, and I just cleaned up any areas that were looking a bit messy with this as well. And then I just set this using the translucent powder from before on a powder puff and just brushed away the excess. So then I went in with that same contour powder from before and blended this along the edge of the mouth. So I did this just to again make it look a bit more 3D, and you kind of want to follow the shape of the shapes that you've created. So I made it slightly heavier in some areas and then I faded it out in others, and then again I applied it kind of in between the shapes as well, just using a smaller brush just to make it look a bit more 3D and a bit more like it was like your skin had hollowed out. So then just for a wee added touch on the face, I just took that blue and blended it into my hairline and kind of created like a widow's peak. Everything about Chernabog is very angular and geometric, so I wanted that to be replicated within the makeup. And then I just applied a wee bit of black into the centre of it as well. For finishing touches, put a wee red liner in your waterline for the eyes. And then I also applied that red eyeshadow on that widow's peak that I've created as well, just to tie everything in together. And then I applied plenty and plenty of mascara. I didn't use falsies with this eye look. I just didn't think it needed it for this look and for this character. And then I applied a kind of bluish highlight. And then for finishing touches on the mouth, I just took a white eyeliner and kind of drew in like wee highlight points that kind of also looked like drill, which sounds disgusting, but it's Halloween, so that works. And then I just kind of blended over that using the black and the blue from before, just so it wasn't too vibrant. And then for finishing touches, all you need to do is scrape your hair back into a bun and apply a wee pair of horns, and that is you completed this Chernabog makeup look. As always, everything that I have used will be listed down below, as well as all of my social medias. Make sure you give me a like and a follow on them, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I hope you have all enjoyed this makeup look, and I will see you in the next video for another spooky season makeup. See y'all next time, bye! What's the word? No. God, this is not going to go well if that's how I'm starting. Oh my god! Eyebrows remind me of like Spook. And fun story, my nana the other day, we were for some reason got on to the subject of Star Trek, and instead of live long and prosper, she thought it was live long and procreate. I look quite angry, don't I? Oh, she's fierce. I look like a thunderbird. Thunderbirds are go. I just realised that I've not filmed this part.